Let's welcome in our morning guest at this moment. Mayuresh Joshi is now joining us. Sajeev Dhawan is with us, as well as Sumit Bagadia. Sajeev, let me come to you first. What do you make of developments on GST, and how do you think ITC would react?
Morning. Well, everything's positive. The worry was always that the GST, the sin tax, as I said, could be higher. So there'll be a positive relief. You've always said, as in the pre-open, the stock would move higher. That would obviously add to the Nifty levels as well in the morning. So nothing negative. ITC relatively a quieter and duller stock for the traders at the moment. But certainly, if you're an investor, you can hold on and probably hope for levels of 400 plus over the next several months.
Right. Mayuresh, what will be your call on ITC? Do you think it will be very volatile today?
Should be, Pankaj, and largely again I think the cess that can get applied is for a period of 5 years. So one must really understand that the cap that we are talking about is the upper limit that can get levied on cigarettes, and that largely would have a bearing in terms of how the earnings would grow. But largely I think the street is expecting the tax rate to be almost neutral, or as per expectations that were largely coming through the budget and the previous two budgets as well. Now what has happened is that once GST is rolled out, I think there were different state VATs coming through and different cigarette rates for cigarettes above 64 mm, and there will be uniformity in rates happening on that front, and that also probably lends support to the cigarette business of ITC, because the illegal cigarette market probably has got impacted both on counts of demonetization, and with taxes being more uniform, the tax arbitrage probably becomes much more uniform. The other businesses of ITC should also start performing. They've probably been languishing at this point of time, whether it's the hotels business, the agro trading business, the paper business. But the EBIT contribution from the cigarette business still remains extremely high, more than 75-80%. So my own sense is that even if we see a marginal volume degrowth happening, I think the compensation because of demand and inelasticity and the price realizations thereof will assume stable revenue growth. So I think valuations remain supportive, around 26 times FY 18 earnings. So largely I think if you're holding on to ITC, I think it's a clear hold from my side.
All right, Sumit, what are your top picks?
Hi, good morning. The first pick for the day is Adani Port. Adani Port is looking good on charts, and yesterday we saw a breakout in the counter. Now looking at the chart, it seems immediately we can see levels of around 340 and 350 as an immediate target in next couple of days. So for trading perspective, one can initiate long portion in Adani Port at CMP, or if there is a dip of around 4 to 5 points from present levels, then that can be used as a good buying opportunity, with a small stop loss to be placed at around 310 levels on lower side, or the upside target of 340 and 350 levels in next couple of days. The second pick for the day is Ambuja Cement. Ambuja Cement is looking good on charts. Now from present levels, there is a possibility that we might see a upside move till 260 levels. So for a trading perspective, one can initiate long position in Ambuja Cement at around 235, 236 levels, with the stop loss to be placed at around 225 levels on lower side for the initial target of 250. And if 250 is taken away, then we can see extended move till 260 levels in next couple of days. The third pick for the day is Asian Paints. We have seen a good rally in Asian Paints. From lower levels, we have seen a very good upside move. Still, it seems that we will see the extended rally, and on higher side, we can see levels of around 1150 as an immediate target. For a trading perspective, one can initiate long position in Asian Paints at CMP, or if there is a dip of around 10 to 15 points from present levels, that would be a good buying opportunity in Asian Paints, with the stop loss to be placed at around 1040 levels on lower side. For the immediate upside of 50 to 60 points, that means on higher side we can see levels of around 1150 as an immediate target, and overall we are expecting Asian Paints to touch levels of around 1200 soon.
Right. All right. So we've got picks coming in from Sumit. Mayuresh, what are your top picks?
Well, largely again I think as there is an absolute mandate that has come through, and because of the political and economic stability, I think valuations obviously are looking on the higher side, but I think a stock specific approach is something that we are still looking at. So from the large caps, my own sense is that capital goods over the next 4 to 8 quarters should start performing relatively better. The private capex cycle is still down, but as orders start flowing through and as the government capex intensifies over the next few months, it is a matter of time that private capex comes through. Certain industries probably have a lot more capex built in at this point of time. So if it's cement, power transformers, to a certain extent, a lot of consumer-facing industries, there the demand catch-up still needs to happen. But over a period of time, my own sense is capital goods as a play should do well. So obviously L&T stands out, so it's a clear hold on that side, but abrasives as an industrial consumable product is something that I'm very, very bullish about at this point of time. That industry has probably gone through its pain points over the last 4 to 5 years. They've done their fair bit of capex, but because of the asset turnover remaining extremely low, I think the return ratios are getting impacted in a significant manner. As things improve on ground and as more orders start flowing through, specifically in terms of consumables on the industrial side, abrasives along with ceramics and electro minerals should start getting consumed more, which basically means that the margin improvement should be very, very evident. So that as a space with players like Grindwell Norton, with players like Carborundum Universal, I think that looks like a very interesting point. And infrastructure. So within infrastructure, I think road players, road developers, EPC constructors, contractors, I think these players should do relatively better. So players like Sabhav Engineering, RB Infra, you probably got a KNR construction that can get tossed in. And certain mid-cap consumer-facing stocks.
Mayuresh, can you please give us some stock names, you know, any particular picks plus the targets that you expect for your top picks?
No, so I mentioned right now, I think I mentioned RB, I mentioned Sabhav, I mentioned KNR. Within the consumer-facing ones, my own sense is that stocks which can get positively impacted because of GST and the entire theme of unorganized moving to organized and much more tax arbitrage being played out and the unorganized players basically feeling the brunt. Footwear players like Mirza International is something that I'm liking from a long-term perspective. Logistics stocks like Navkar, which probably can have a larger say in terms of gaining domestic market share, assuming that the EXIM trade stays at the same level that it currently is. I think the gaining of domestic market share and volumes thereof can have a significant impact, and I do see earnings improving from the first half of FY18. Direct consumer plays, Symphony from the air cooler space, I think is a very interesting play that is happening. Asset light model, almost a debt-free balance sheet. You probably got earnings growth happening on that front, margin improvement seen. And again, players in the air conditioning market, something like Blue Star is what I believe can do relatively better from a medium-term perspective. Summer season's around the corner. I think the kind of market share gains that they made, 10-11% in terms of the overall room air conditioning market, the room air conditioning share within its perspective has gone up significantly higher to 48%. My own expectation is margins improving to 7-7.5%, and with cash infusion coming in from Blue Star Infotech, this looks like a very interesting consumable story over the next 2 to 3 quarters.
All right, Sajeev, very quickly, what are your top picks?
Well, there's so many stocks as you can see at the moment, the momentum. We will still focus on financials, whether it's Dewan Housing, Bajaj Finance, LIC Housing, there's still a lot of momentum there. If you want some smaller caps then, or mid caps, you can look at Syntex, there's momentum in that stock as well. And a stock which has just been mentioned, Asian Paints, we have a long position on that, and we feel there's a lot of momentum. The key point is across the market, whichever sectors, really apart from IT, there's a lot of positive news flow. So as a trader, you should enjoy the ride, buy with your stop losses in place, and obviously take profits when stocks move up 3 to 5%. So stay long and stick to the financials, which is a sector which we feel is still very, very bullish at the moment.
Just about 40 seconds remaining for markets to open. So financials is a space which Sajeev believe one should go through. ADAG Pack will be in focus. Reliance Capital had its analyst meet yesterday. We'll put out details in just a bit. Also, Reliance Infra has gone ahead and approved a 2,000 crore QIP. So both these companies would be in focus. Remember, up till now, the news focus has been mainly on Reliance Industries with what's happening with Jio, with what's happening at Capex. But now in the last few days, you're also getting a lot of news flow coming regarding Anil Ambani Group stocks. Yesterday was an analyst meet. The stock was up 10% ahead of that meet. Let's just see what happens today. So that will be also one stock that will be in focus, and ITC of course will be in focus. We have discussed that in details with our guest as well as to what can happen based on what news flow has come on GST. These are the first ticks for you. Nifty has opened about the 9,200 mark, 9,209. So crossed the third resistance right from the word go. Okay, it's now below that. So let's see whether it crosses that again or not. That will be important for levels. BHEL up about 1 rupee. steady. Tata Power absolutely flat. Tata Motors absolutely flat at this point of time. ITC is up 4.5%, 280 rupees. From the first tick, it's up 4%. Would not be surprised if it actually goes up further from here on, because it's a relief that has come in. That at least, the GST panel is saying that most of the products that they are looking at will be on the neutral side in terms of taxes, and that's why it comes in as a relief. 279, 280 for ITC, 4% higher stock, 4% higher for ITC. That's Reliance Capital for you, 4 to 5 rupees higher, 608. That's about 5 lakh shares already traded. So very good volumes from the first go. Reliance Infra is 593, but they have approved, a fundraising. That's why maybe the street may not be excited. 594, 595 for Reliance Infra, about 1 lakh shares are traded. Lupin has done a new launch. It's 8 rupees higher, 1464. It's a good launch, but one would say that it's not a very, very big launch. That's why probably the street may not be excited about Lupin. So that's about 1464 for Lupin. 8 to 9 rupees on the higher side. 27,000 shares are traded for Lupin. 8 rupees higher for that name right now. Let's just look at some of the other names and what's happening in the mid-cap space. So if I just look at the mid-cap space and what's happening, ITC is right now the top gainer. It's also a part of the top gaining list of the Nifty, of course, but it's 4% higher. Suzlon Energy is up close to about 2.5%. Very strong volumes. Yesterday, the delivery mark for Suzlon was as high as 5 crore shares on both the exchanges. It's still not a big amount, but that's something which has not happened for a while. Bharat Financial Inclusion, earlier known as SKS Microfinance, is up 2%, 827 for Bharat Financial Inclusion. That's the third top gainer. Very good volumes as well. And some of the steel names have again started to go up. So you have a JSPL which is up 1.6. You have a Vedanta which is up about 1.3 odd percent. All these names have been buzzing in the last few days. They continue to do so. So that's probably one pack that is doing well. Reliance Capital is now up about 1% or so. Union Bank is doing well. Some of the other financials are also doing well. Pharma as a pack is also seeing some sort of buying. At least the large ones that I can see are seeing some buying, but volumes may be yet to pick up. Anisha, any other names with volumes that you can pick up?
Well, we have seen good action in ITC on good volumes. We're seeing Dredging Corporation of India also move up 4.5% on volumes higher than normal. Suzlon is up amongst the pharmaceutical names. Markson Pharma has also moved up higher. And then you have some of these logistics names that are moving up higher. Snowman Logistics, Gati, on all the action that has taken place on the GST front with the council giving the go-ahead to all the legislations that are required. Jet Airways is up 1.5%. Gati is up 1.5%. So these are some of the stocks that have moved up well on stronger than normal volumes. Tech Mahindra is seeing some amount of profit taking. That one is down 2.5%. JP Associates is down 2%, and Bharti Infratel is down about 1%. Sajeev, what do you do with some of these logistics stocks? They tend to benefit when GST will be passed. Are there any names in the logistics space that you like? Can you consider an investment in any of these now?
It's not really a sector that we've focused on too much recently. I think with all this GST news, a lot of the run-up has been factored in. You've seen today something specific for ITC, so you saw a very specific reaction there. But generally, until this gets implemented in July and the actual benefits come through over the next several months, I think a lot of the positive news has been factored in. So I would look to lighten up. I think the markets generally, although there's a lot of positive momentum, do offer an opportunity for a lot of traders, investors to lighten up. And sectors like logistics, unless the fundamentals justify the higher prices, would be ripe for some profit taking maybe right now.
Right, you'd perhaps look at booking some profits in some of the logistics names. Sumit, what do you see on the charts for some of these high beta names, JP Associates, JSPL? The markets have moved up very well over the last few days, and many people are advising profit taking. What do you see on the charts for these two counters?
Well, Anisha, as far as JP Associate is concerned, it's better to avoid the counter for taking long positions because it has already given a move from lower levels, and now looking at the chart it seems that we can see some selling pressure in the counter, and immediately there is a possibility that we might see levels of around 13 and 12.50 as an immediate target. So if anyone wants to initiate a long position in JP Associate, then it's better to avoid the positions because it's looking weak, and on downside we can see a move till 12.50 levels in next couple of days. Till the time on higher side we don't see any breakout above 15.50 or 16 levels, it's better to avoid the position in JP Associate. As far as your question on Jindal Steel is concerned, Jindal Steel is looking good to me. We feel that in next couple of weeks from present levels we will see a good upside rally in Jindal Steel. On higher side we are expecting a move around 10 to 15% from present levels. Those who want to initiate a position for next couple of weeks, they can initiate long position in Jindal Steel at CMP, or if by chance there is a dip of around 7 to 8 points from present levels, then that can be used as a good buying opportunity. And on higher side immediately we can see levels of around 140 as an immediate target, and if that is taken away then we will see extended move till 170 levels in next couple of months. So for next couple of months it's a very good bet at present levels. Any dip in this counter should be used as buying opportunity.
Right. Now in the markets, other than the Nifty, which is up 4%, most of the other stocks are holding on to very slim gains. In fact, 26 out of the 50 stocks in the Nifty are in the red, and the Nifty has gain of just about 13 points. So we've come up pretty sharply from the highs of the day. Mayuresh, what do you do with Tata Steel? It's again back up about 500 rupees a share. Would you continue to buy more, accumulate on dips, or look to book some profits?
Again, I think I'll wait for declines, Anisha, because if you've looked at the operational performance has been quite exemplary. The ferro alloy business has done pretty well for Tata Steel. If you look at the EBITDA per ton for its Indian operations, more than 11,000 odd rupees, which is quite significant in terms of core realizations coming through, and that was obviously aided in terms of what had come through in terms of the government support through MIPs and the duty support. Largely, I think the European operations have given some support because of LME realizations have gone up, but largely again I think for the sector as a whole, I think the dynamics change almost from a short-term perspective in terms of what happens with Chinese supplies, Chinese demand, what happens with the LME inventory. So largely again I think the run-up has been too sharp in my opinion, so I think I'll wait for significant declines. Until that point of time, at least metals as a commodity space, specifically on the steel side, I think rather I'll stay on the sidelines till I get better entry points.
Right, Mayuresh, as far as Reliance Capital is concerned, what will be your call over there? So the management is having news flow. We've seen Reliance, the other brothers group company doing well. Do you expect Reliance Capital, Reliance Infra to see some momentum?
So within this pack itself, Pankaj, again the capital raising for Reliance Infra, I think how that plays on earnings is over the next few quarters. For Reliance Capital as a whole,
you were talking about capital raising for infra.
But for Reliance Capital, my own sense is that within the ADAC group, the kind of businesses that they are into, insurance business is expected to do relatively better because we are a large underpenetrated country at this point of time. So if one really lays out the landscape over the next 3 to 5 years, there is tremendous scope in terms of the life insurance business as well as the carving out of the health insurance business that they have done. Secondly, I think even in terms of their core assets under management, that has seen significant improvement on the mutual fund business. And if you look at the profitability for the quarter gone by, though it had seen a dip of 11%, it was for an excess provisioning of almost 45 crores that they have done towards the general insurance business. So largely I think the numbers within this pack, as the savings of this country move from the traditional part towards financial assets, Reliance Capital along with the other financial services players are going to benefit significantly. If it comes to valuations, probably I think the stock has preempted the move in terms of what might come through. So you might see some profit being taken off the table. But if I have to pick and choose within the ADAC group itself, I think Reliance Capital is something that I'll be comfortable sticking with.
Right. Sajeev, as far as Suzlon is concerned, anything that you can pick up? Last 2-3 days there has been a lot of action in the name.
Sorry, Pankaj, don't follow the Suzlon stock at all anymore.
Right. As far as aviation is concerned, Sajeev, do you like that? Interglobe Aviation is up 2%, Jet Airways is up 4% right now. Any call on the aviation sector?
Well, Jet seems to be a stock which is more active from the trader's perspective. It's had a steady run, obviously the impact of lower oil prices and lower ATF prices domestically will be the positive triggers. It's a difficult sector. Interglobe is obviously a better stock for the longer term patient investors. We've seen a lot of clients who like SpiceJet as well, but it's highly volatile. It's very a sector which I think it trends a lot. When there's some positive news, everyone seems to jump in, but negative news seems to sometimes just pop up and lead to a very sharp correction. So it's certainly a sector worth looking at. If you've got Jet Airways, stay long. If you're a patient investor, as I said, Interglobe is probably a better stock. But again, it's not one of our favorite sectors because of the fact that the news flow can change any time, and it is obviously very dependent on the volatile oil prices.
Right. Can you also just talk to us about the financial space? You mentioned that one should use the financial space to play any recovery, but don't you think that already majority of the good financial names are trading at lifetime high valuations, so it may be difficult for them to see re-rating?
It's a sector we've constantly mentioned on your show the last few months. Yes, you're right, the valuations are not cheap. They've gone up substantially. A lot of the good news is factored in, whether it's with reforms, the growing economy. But the point is, if you're a trader, that's the sector you'll have to be looking at, and you'll be buying the dips. Short sellers have not really had an opportunity to make money in these stocks. If they do look to short sell and the markets remain in this sort of frenzied momentum on the upside, you will see these stocks move higher, and you're seeing that across the board. Whenever there's a correction, there's some buying which comes back in, and whether it's housing finance or even some of the stocks like JM Financial, Edelweiss, even at these high prices, there seems to be a lot of buying interest. So they are rich in valuations, but it's a sector we feel can still outperform that so long as the markets remain in this bullish mood and head towards 9,500 plus levels over the next few months. Banks also, whether it's private or PSU banks, will remain in focus, and they're also very good stocks and a good sector to remain in your portfolio, whether as a trader or an investor. The key will obviously be the results in the next few weeks. They will have to come in line with expectations. Any disappointment could lead to a sharp sell-off, so that will obviously be a concern over the next few weeks.
Right. Sajeev, in the financial pack, or rather in the NBFC pack, REC, PFC have done very well in the last 2-3 months. Would they be on your buy list?
Well, they're relatively calmer and more stable stocks. They're not ones which all traders like, because they don't always give you that 3 to 5% short-term jumps from time to time. So certainly decent stocks, more again probably suitable to longer-term patient investors who have a time frame of 6 months to 1 year. And again, any downside in those stocks would be bought into by probably more conservative and risk-averse investors. So certainly decent stocks to hold on to, at these higher prices.
Sumit, today we saw the Nifty go past 9200 and has since slid very quickly. Now, for the last in the last 5 sessions, we've seen 2 big gap up openings. Now, what is the Nifty strategy, if you have any?
See, Anisha, Nifty is looking strong only. I don't think so that we will see any selling in Nifty. Immediately from higher levels, we have seen some selling pressure, but overall I feel 9150, 9160 are decent levels to initiate long positions in Nifty. Immediately, if we see closing above 9200 levels in Nifty, then we will see a extended rally in Nifty in which we can see levels of around 9400 in March expiry itself. We feel that Nifty is strong, and any dip in Nifty from present level should be used as buying opportunity. Immediate support for Nifty is placed at around 9100 levels. So till that time, 9100 levels are not taken away on downside. One should use any dips in Nifty from present levels as buying opportunity, and on higher side, 9200 as a will act as an immediate resistance. As soon as 9200 is taken away, we will see a rally till 9250, 9300 levels in next couple of days. And overall for the March expiry, we are expecting Nifty to touch levels of around 9400. So overall view on Nifty is positive. Any dip in Nifty should be used as buying opportunity.
Alright, Sumit, what are your views on 2 stocks? One is Adani Ports, which saw a strong rally earlier, and Tata Chemicals, which is trading at 52-week highs.
Well, Anisha, Adani Port, we have already given a buy. It's looking strong, and on higher side, we are expecting Adani Port to touch levels of around 340 and 350 as an immediate target. So I think those who have taken positions in Adani Port should hold on their existing long positions, and if anyone wants to initiate a fresh long positions in Adani Port, then they can initiate at CMP, because it has given a breakout, and very soon it should give a very good upside rally in which we can see levels of around 350. So Adani Port is a buy. And as far as your question on Tata Chem is concerned, Tata Chem is also looking good on charts. It has given breakout too. Immediately, the stock will face small resistance at around 600 levels. As soon as 600 is taken away on closing basis with volumes, we will see a move of around 8 to 10%. That means on higher side, we can see levels of around 650, 660 as an overall target in Tata Chemical. So I think those who have taken positions in Tata Chemical at lower levels in last 1 or 2 days, they can hold on the existing long positions with a trailing stop loss to be placed at around 565 levels on lower side. And if anyone wants to initiate a fresh long positions, then they can initiate with the same stop loss of 565 for the upside target of 650, 660 levels in next couple of weeks.
Alright, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV Profit, giving us your top stocks to buy and to invest in. A pleasure having you with us. As you go, please leave us with the disclosures. Mayuresh, your disclosures.
Anisha, all the stocks we've discussed, no personal holdings, but it is possible we've discussed this with our clients and we might be holding these stocks on behalf of our clients and our funds.
Sajeev, your disclosures.
Well, any stock we recommended, it's safe to assume that personally and certainly clients would have long positions in.
Sumit, your disclosures.
Yes, absolutely, Anisha. It's better to assume that our clients might have position on the stocks which you've discussed on NDTV Profit, especially the frontliner stocks, because we share the same view with our clients. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us on NDTV Profit.
On that note, we're taking a break, coming back in 2 minutes, but lots more lined up on the other side. We have a new listing today, Music Broadcast, the owner of Radio City, will get listed today. Very strong response, expected to be about 100 rupees plus in terms of premium. Also, we'll be talking to the management of Mahindra and Mahindra Finance. That's a buzzing stocks in the last few days.